Do you ever catch yourself stuck in a loop of negative thoughts, unsure how to break free and become more positive? It's a struggle many of us face, feeling like we are trapped by our own minds. Hello and welcome to Case Calm Kit. I am so glad you are here. Today, we are going to tackle this common challenge together by identifying those negative thought patterns that hold us back. Our goal is to help you move forward into a stronger, more productive mindset. If you watched our first video on the basics of cognitive restructuring, you already know that changing negative thoughts can be a game changer for your mental health. If you haven't watched it yet, I invite you to do so and start owning and choosing your thoughts. Today, we are building on that foundation, diving deeper into how to stop those pesky negative thoughts that sneak into our daily lives. This video is the second in our Positive Mindset Makeover series designed to guide you step by step through the process of cognitive restructuring. So let's get started. Negative thoughts are more than just fleeting moments of self-doubt or frustration. They can deeply influence our minds and behaviors, shaping our lives in significant ways. These thoughts often form as deep-seated beliefs that dictate how we feel, how we act, how we react, and ultimately the outcomes we experience in life. When we constantly think negatively, we start to believe these thoughts are true, which affects our emotions and actions. For instance, if you constantly think, "I'm not good enough," you might feel discouraged, avoid taking on new challenges, and miss out on opportunities for growth and success. Imagine a person who frequently experiences negative thoughts in various situations. They might wake up and think today is going to be a bad day. This thought sets a negative tone for the day, influencing their mood and outlook. At work, they might think, "I'm going to mess up this presentation," which leads to feelings of anxiety and stress. This anxiety can cause them to perform poorly, reinforcing the belief that they are not competent. Later, when interacting with colleagues, they might think, "No one really likes me here," which causes them to withdraw and avoid social interactions. This withdrawal behavior can lead to isolation, making them feel even more disconnected and lonely. Throughout the day, these negative thoughts create a self-fulfilling prophecy, where their beliefs influence their actions and lead to outcomes that reinforce those negative beliefs. Here are 5 common negative thought patterns and how to turn them to our advantage. Number 1, all or nothing thinking. All or nothing thinking, also known as black and white thinking, is when you see things in extreme terms. There are no middle grounds or shades of gray. Everything is either a complete success or a total failure. This kind of thinking can be very limiting and can cause significant stress and disappointment because it doesn't allow for any in-between or partial successes. Imagine you are working on a project. You've put in a lot of effort and overall the project is going well. However, you make a small mistake in one section. Instead of seeing the project as mostly successful with a minor error, you think, "I messed up, so the whole project is a failure." This kind of all or nothing thinking can make you feel like you are not good enough, despite the overall positive outcome of your work. To shift this thought pattern, it's important to start recognizing and appreciating the nuances and partial successes in your efforts. Instead of viewing the project as a failure because of one mistake, acknowledge the good work you've done and see the mistake as a learning opportunity. Try to replace all or nothing statements with more balanced thoughts. For example, instead of "I failed completely," you might say, "I did well overall and I can learn from the mistake I made." This shift in thinking allows for a more realistic and forgiving perspective, reducing stress and improving your overall sense of accomplishment. Number 2, overgeneralization. Overgeneralization is a cognitive distortion where you draw broad conclusions from a single event or a limited set of experiences. This kind of thinking leads you to believe that one negative event is indicative of a never-ending pattern of defeat. It can make you feel hopeless and discourage you from trying new things or taking risks. Consider a situation where you had a job interview that didn't go as well as you hoped. You might find yourself thinking, I bombed that interview, so I will never get a job anywhere. This thought pattern takes one isolated incident and extends its significance to all future situations, making you feel like failure is inevitable. In other words, you are defining yourself as a failure because of a unique experience, which is not a fact, but an interpretation you made for it. To shift this thought pattern, start by recognizing that one event does not determine all future outcomes. That one experience does not define who you are. It's important to put things into perspective. Instead of thinking, I will never get a job, remind yourself, this interview didn't go well, but I can learn from it and improve for the next one. Focus on the specific aspects you can work on and understand that each situation is unique. By challenging the overgeneralization and seeing each experience as a learning opportunity rather than a defining moment, you can maintain a more balanced and hopeful outlook. Number 3, mental filtering. Mental filtering is a cognitive distortion where you focus solely on the negative aspects of a situation while ignoring any positive ones. This skewed perception can lead to an unbalanced view of reality, where the positives are overshadowed by the negatives. It often results in feelings of dissatisfaction and negativity as you filter out the good and only see the bad. Imagine you receive feedback on a report you wrote. You get several positive comments praising your thorough research and clear writing, but there is one piece of criticism about a minor formatting error. Instead of appreciating the positive feedback, you fixate on the criticism and think I messed up the report. This mental filter prevents you from seeing the overall success and improvement areas, focusing only on the negative. To shift this thought pattern, practice balanced thinking by actively acknowledging both positive and negative aspects. Start by making a conscious effort to recognize and list the positive feedback or elements in any situation. For instance, instead of focusing on the formatting error alone, acknowledge the positive comments as well. The research was praised, and I can easily fix the formatting. By training yourself to see the whole picture, you can develop a more balanced and realistic perspective, reducing unnecessary negativity and enhancing your overall satisfaction. Number 4, disqualifying the positive. Disqualifying the positive is a cognitive distortion where you reject or discount positive experiences and achievements by insisting they don't count for some reason. This thought pattern can prevent you from appreciating your successes and recognizing your strengths, leading to a persistent sense of inadequacy and unworthiness. Imagine you receive a compliment from a colleague on a job well done. Instead of accepting the compliment, you might think they are just being nice. Or it doesn't really mean anything because anyone could have done it. By disqualifying the positive feedback, you undermine your own accomplishments and continue to feel inappreciated and undervalued. To shift this thought pattern, start by consciously accepting and acknowledging positive feedback and experiences. When you receive a compliment or recognize a success, take a moment to appreciate it without immediately discounting it. For instance, instead of thinking they are just being nice, try to accept the compliment with gratitude. Thank you, I worked hard on that project. Practice keeping a positivity journal where you write down positive comments, achievements, and experiences to reinforce your recognition of them. By validating positive experiences, you build a more balanced and accurate view of yourself, boosting your self-esteem and overall well-being. Number 5, jumping to conclusions. Jumping to conclusions is a cognitive distortion where you make negative assumptions without sufficient evidence. This can manifest in 2 forms: mind reading, where you assume you know what others are thinking, and fortune telling, where you predict negative outcomes. This kind of thinking can lead to unnecessary stress, anxiety, and strained relationships. Imagine you send a message to a friend and they don't respond immediately. You might start thinking they are ignoring me because they are mad at me, without any real evidence. This is an example of mind reading. Alternatively, if you have a job interview coming up, you might think I'm going to mess up and not get the job, which is fortune telling. Both forms of jumping to conclusions lead to negative feelings and behaviors based on unfounded assumptions. To shift this thought pattern, practice seeking evidence before forming conclusions. When you catch yourself mind-reading or fortune-telling, ask yourself, what evidence do I have for this thought? For example, instead of thinking they are ignoring me because they are mad, consider more likely explanations. Maybe they are busy or haven't seen my message yet. Similarly, instead of predicting failure before your interview, remind yourself of your preparations and past successes. I've prepared well for this interview and I will do my best. Additionally, try to communicate openly and ask questions rather than assuming the worst. For instance, you can follow up with your friend and prepare thoroughly for the interview instead of dwelling on negative assumptions. By focusing on facts and open communication, you can reduce anxiety and improve your interactions and outcomes. Let's dive into how you can start identifying negative thought patterns in your everyday life. Recognizing these patterns is the first crucial step towards making positive changes. We will discuss practical strategies and techniques to help you become more aware of your thoughts, understand how they impact your emotions and behaviors, and take steps to challenge and change them. By the end of this section, you will have the tools you need to catch these negative thoughts as they occur and begin shifting towards a more positive and balanced mindset. One of the first steps to transforming your mindset is to pay close attention to your thoughts. A great way to do this is by keeping a thought journal. Whenever you feel stressed or upset, take a moment to write down what is going through your mind. The simple practice can help you become more aware of the negative thoughts that might be influencing your feelings and behaviors. Next, it's important to tune into your physical and emotional cues. Notice when you feel tense, anxious, or sad. These feelings are often signals that a negative thought pattern is at work. For instance, if you suddenly feel a knot in your stomach or your heart starts racing, ask yourself what you were just thinking about. These physical reactions can be valuable clues. To help identify these patterns, ask yourself specific questions when you notice a negative feeling. Pause and reflect. What was I thinking right before I started feeling this way? Is this thought based on facts or just my perception? These questions help you uncover the thought that triggers your negative emotions. This awareness is the first step towards challenging and changing those thoughts. If you are finding this process helpful and want to dive even deeper, make sure to check out our video on emotional triggers, identifying and understanding emotional triggers. This video will guide you through recognizing the specific events or situations that set off your emotional reactions, which is a crucial part of understanding and managing your thought patterns. The link is in the description below, so don't miss it. Give it a try this week. Start a thought journal, pay attention to your physical and emotional cues, and ask yourself these questions. Share your experiences in the comments below. Have you noticed any recurring patterns in your thoughts? How does it feel to see your thoughts written down? Let's support each other on this journey to a more positive and empowered mindset. Here are some practical exercises. Number 1, thought journal exercise. A thought journal is a powerful tool to help you become more aware of your negative thoughts and begin the process of changing them. Here is how you can use it. 1. Write down a stressful situation. Start by noticing a specific situation that caused your stress or discomfort. Be as detailed as possible. For example, had a disagreement with a colleague at work. 2. Identify the negative thought. Next, write down the negative thought that came to mind during the situation. For instance, I'm not good at handling conflicts. 3. Record the emotion you felt. Then, jot down the emotion you experienced as a result of that thought. This could be anxiety, frustration, sadness, etc. In our example, it might be anxiety. 4. Create an alternative positive thought. Finally, challenge the negative thought by coming up with a more balanced and positive alternative. For example, I'm learning to handle conflicts better with practice. Example entry. Situation: had a disagreement with a colleague at work. Negative thought: I'm not good at handling conflicts. Emotion: anxiety. Alternative positive thought: I'm learning to handle conflicts better with practice. Why it's beneficial? This exercise helps you break down and analyze your negative thoughts, making them more tangible and less overwhelming. By identifying the emotion associated with the thought, you can see the direct impact it has on your well-being. Creating an alternative positive thought allows you to reframe the situation in a more constructive light, fostering a more positive and balanced mindset over time. Try to make this a daily practice, especially when you encounter stressful situations. The more you do it, the more skilled you will become at catching and transforming negative thoughts, leading to greater emotional resilience and mental clarity. Exercise number 2, Cognitive Distortion Worksheet. A cognitive distortion worksheet is a helpful tool for categorizing and challenging your negative thoughts. Here is how you can create and use one. Create columns. Set up a simple worksheet with 4 columns. Label them as follows: situation, negative thought, type of cognitive distortion, and balanced thought. 2. Situation. In the first column, write down the specific situation that triggered your negative thought. Be as detailed as you can. For example, gave a presentation at work. 3. Negative thought. In the second column, note the negative thought that arose in response to the situation. For instance, I did a terrible job. Everyone must think I'm incompetent. 4. Type of cognitive distortion. In the third column, identify the type of cognitive distortion your negative thought represents. Common distortion should include all or nothing thinking, overgeneralization, mental filtering, and disqualifying the positive. In this case, it might be all or nothing thinking. 5. Balanced thought. In the fourth column, write down a more balanced and positive thought to replace the negative one. For example, I made a few mistakes, but overall my presentation went well and conveyed the key points. Example entry: situation, gave a presentation at work. Negative thought: I did a terrible job, everyone must think I'm incompetent. Type of cognitive distortion: all or nothing thinking. Balanced thought: I made a few mistakes, but overall my presentation went well and conveyed the key points. Why it's beneficial? This exercise helps you systematically identify and categorize your negative thoughts, making it easier to see patterns in your thinking. By labeling the type of cognitive distortion, you become more aware of the specific ways in which your thinking might be skewed. Creating a balanced thought allows you to reframe the situation in a more realistic and positive light. Over time, this practice can help you develop a habit of challenging and changing negative thought patterns, leading to improved mental health and resilience. Incorporate this exercise into your daily routine to build greater awareness and control over your thoughts. The more you practice, the more adept you will become at recognizing and transforming cognitive distortions. Let's talk about how you can make these practices a part of your daily life. Imagine setting aside just a few minutes each day to reflect on your thoughts. It's a small habit, but it can make a huge difference. By doing this regularly, you will start to recognize patterns in your thinking, and soon it will become second nature. Now, one of the most important things is to welcome and understand your thoughts and feelings instead of pushing them away. Think of every thought and emotion as a guide. Even those negative thoughts, they are not just obstacles. They are like signposts, pointing out where your beliefs might be limiting you and where there is a room for growth. Embrace them and learn from them. Your thoughts have such a powerful influence on your life. They shape how you see the world, guide your actions, and determine your outcomes. When you start to understand and embrace your thoughts, you can use them as tools for personal growth. Instead of trying to cancel or ignore negative thoughts, see them as guides. When a negative thought pops up, ask yourself what it is trying to teach you. How can this insight help you grow? This change in perspective can turn challenges into opportunities. These exercises we've talked about, keeping a thought journal, using a cognitive distortion worksheet, are real gems. When you practice them consistently, they can boost your self-confidence, your self-esteem, and help you develop more productive thought patterns. And this isn't just about feeling better, it's about empowerment. You will find that you are more in control of your thoughts and, by extension, your life. So try to make these practices a daily habit. Maybe in the morning, during a lunch break, or before bed. Take a few minutes to reflect on your thoughts and emotions and use the techniques you've learned. Over time, you will find that you naturally start to think in more balanced and positive ways. Remember, this journey is about progress, not perfection. Every step you take towards understanding and managing your thoughts brings you closer to a more empowered and fulfilling life. Embrace the process and trust that with consistent effort, you will experience significant personal growth and transformation. I hope you enjoyed this video and found value in the insights we shared. If that is the case, please hit the like button and help me share these tools and insights with more people. It really makes a difference. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel to be notified about our weekly conscious content designed to empower and uplift you. I would love to hear from you. What common negative thought patterns have you noticed in yourself? How do you recognize them? Share your experiences in the comments below and let us know if you've tried our exercises and how you found them. Your feedback is so valuable. In our next video, we will dive into techniques for challenging negative thoughts, giving you more strategies to transform your mindset. And don't forget to check out our video on emotional triggers. It's a great complement to what we've discussed today. The link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Much love.